is there is a freedom that we can discover beyond the body. So right now I'm standing here and there is a sense of a body. There's a vague sense of sensation and feeling and a vague sense of a personality within this body. But there's also this light sort of ineffable presence which is here, which is knowing the body, which is completely free, and which is the reason why I probably have this big smile on my face right now. Because I'm in touch with this free beingness which is beyond the body. So how do these two teachings come together? Discovering what you are as a being beyond the physical body, and the teaching of embodiment coming deeply into the body. So, one way that we can discover this free beingness is through the doorway of the body. Every time a feeling arises, and instead of allowing the feeling to pull you into identification with a thought-made self in the head, every time a feeling arises, which has the tendency to pull you into a thinking person and a contracted sense of self in the head, if when that feeling arises, instead of being pulled into thinking, you just allow yourself to feel the feeling, then what you're doing is you're staying with the feeling and you're not getting pulled into the mind, and naturally beingness through that process, through the process of feeling your feelings, starts to come online. This ineffable free presence, or what some people would call spirit, naturally starts to awaken within your consciousness through the process of embodiment. When you come into the body, you come away from identification with the mind. And the natural side effect of that is that it puts you in touch with freedom. It puts you in touch with the freedom of being, this deep inner smile, this free beingness which is happy and free and joyful and at peace, without dependence upon the body and the mind being free and at peace. My body and mind can be in bits, and I can still be smiling and I can still be in joy because I know my being. So that's one way of speaking about it. And another way of speaking about it is we can directly inquire into our being without necessarily going through the doorway of the being, of our body. Now, my preferred methods of doing this, one has been meditation practice, which to some degree has always included the body, but another method which is very popular these days is self-inquiry. So for many, many years, when reactivity has been arising within my consciousness, a way of me finding relief from that reactivity has been when it arises, say some trigger happens and I get pulled into some identification within the system or some contraction within the system and it's causing me suffering, I simply ask myself the question, okay, what knows or is aware of this reactivity? And in asking that question, what knows or is aware of this reactivity, my attention naturally goes to this free, open, spacious beingness. And I give my value to that beingness. And that beingness starts to awaken within consciousness. I start to become conscious of my being, aware of my being. My being starts to wake up and I start to know this freedom. Now, when you awaken to something which is much more spacious and much more free than the contracted, suffering sense of self, then what can happen is that beingness, that openness, that freedom starts to rewire and heal and rejig all of what is held within the human nervous system. And it actually, you could say, it wants to rewire the human nervous system. And we start to very gradually become a person more like what our being is. So our being is at peace, our being is free, our being is joyful, equanimous, can't get that word right now. And I'm not saying I'm a person like that, because I'm not. Sometimes I'm freaking angry, sometimes I'm da-da-da-da-da, but I'm becoming more a person like that as the years progress. And the more we walk this path, the more and more we become like what our being is. And I'll just say one more thing. Lots of people practice self-inquiry, and they practice self-inquiry as a way of getting away from the body. They can't bear to be with themselves. And most people cannot bear to be with themselves, so we escape through addictions, smoking, drinking, TV, constantly on our phones. The masses, the whole population of the world basically, are trying to get away from ourselves. We cannot bear to be with ourselves. And often people come to non-duality, come to spiritual awakening teachings with the same intention, to escape themselves, to get away from themselves. And if you come, so you can take on self-inquiry methods like asking the question, who am I? Or inquiring into awareness with the intention of getting away from yourself. And that can only really get you so far. It can only really get you so far. So we need to combine these teachings of non-duality. We need to combine these teachings of awakening. We need to combine self-inquiry with a fucking willingness to fully be there for every aspect of our human, emotional, psychological self. And in that, there is a fullness. In that, there is a richness. In that, the heart opens. And it's an incredible, incredible path. So yeah, fricking go for it. Nice one. Thank you.